Fast food fans are furious. They're fed up. They're freaking out because they have figured out they're getting... Welcome to the Sonic Boomers podcast. I'm Pete.
And I'm Maureen.
And if you are looking for content that is fun, fantastic, fabulous...
Pete, enough with the alliterations.
Fine. It really was, you might say, the shot heard around the world.
Beginning as early as 2025, we will begin testing more enhanced features like dynamic pricing and day-part offerings, along with AI-enabled menu changes and suggestive selling.
Those are the words of Wendy's newly appointed CEO. He just took over in February, Kirk Tanner. The comments were made during a quarterly shareholders meeting. Our sources for our podcast are going to be Forbes magazine, Simpson, a company that leverages technology with business, Wendy's Media, Business Insider, and Pad Lifter. This really has become quite the you-know-what storm. Mm-hmm. We asked our viewers and our listeners on Facebook to weigh in on this, and we will have their comments a little bit later on in the show. When this all started going down, people started talking about surge pricing. If you listen to the man's comment, and Wendy's was quick to point this out, and we're trying to figure out, did they realize that they stepped in poo-poo and they were trying to walk it back, or was it a genuine clarification?
Right.
Okay. So first of all, again, let's listen to Kirk Tanner.
We will begin testing more enhanced features like dynamic pricing and day-part offerings, along with AI-enabled menu changes and suggestive selling.
Did he say surge pricing?
No, he did not. He called it dynamic pricing.
And this is what the spokesperson for Wendy's was saying, that media took this.
Right.
And I looked at a number of different clips from different media outlets around the country, and they were all almost to a letter saying, surge pricing is coming to Wendy's. The man didn't say it.
But, I wonder, again, if this is a case of tomato. Is surge pricing just a more aggravating term than dynamic pricing, but it really comes down to the same thing?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that because we happen to have some information here from Simpson, Symson or Simpson, and they have an article on their website. Again, this is a website that is directed toward business. Mm-hmm. And it says the difference between dynamic and surge pricing. Both dynamic and surge pricing can grant businesses flexibility with their pricing strategies. However, dynamic pricing automatically adjusts your prices in response to various factors. For example, this could involve charging more when demand increases and lowering costs when sales slump. Surge pricing, on the other hand, is just one particular form of dynamic pricing. It refers specifically to models where prices increase temporarily at times of high demand. Uber is a high-profile example of a brand that uses surge pricing. In its case, this model is employed when passenger demand exceeds driver supply. In short, all surge pricing strategies are examples of dynamic pricing, but dynamic pricing models do not necessarily rely on surge pricing.
I don't know. I don't know if I buy it.
So I guess they're saying with dynamic, the price could go up, but it could go down. If you have surge, the price goes up at high peak demand, but comes back down to maybe normal afterwards. But they don't say we reduce it below the normal price.
Ever.
See?
Okay, that's a slight clarification, but to me, it still represents monkeying with the high and the low pricing.
Well, a spokesperson for Wendy's said, quote, Wendy's will not implement surge pricing, which is the practice of raising prices when demand is highest. We didn't use that phrase, nor do we plan to implement that practice. So basically, Wendy's is saying, everybody calm the hell down.
Yeah.
We're not going to raise prices. But you got to wonder, was that the original intent, which they say the original intent was dynamic pricing, not raising the price. And you folks in the media took that and you made it surge pricing.
I don't know. I'm still not on board with its differentiation. You're still saying that at certain times of the day or season or whatever they deem, you're going to be paying a higher price than you're used to.
Which is very common. Give you an example. Again, going back to the folks at Simpson. They're talking about real life cases. Some of the largest brands in the world, and I'm quoting from their website now, some of the largest brands in the world make use of dynamic and surge pricing strategies to maximize revenue. Amazon is another example of multinational enterprise using dynamic pricing to increase its profits. It's been reported that Amazon changes its product prices 2.5 million times a day.
Seriously? I wasn't aware of that.
Airbnb uses dynamic pricing algorithms that considers factors like seasonality, demand, nearby events, and more to help Airbnb hosts list their properties at the optimal price. Hosts that select a price within 5% of Airbnb's price recommendation are nearly 4 times more likely to receive a booking than those that don't.
Those are very specific, and it makes sense to me to have it coincide with certain things, like an Airbnb. If you have a vacation home to rent out and you're in ski country and it's known for a ski lodge, well, come April when the snow melts and it's not really hot enough yet for the summer crowd, I would expect to pay less. And I would expect that during the ski season, when everybody wants to go there, that you could get more for it. That makes sense to me. A burger doesn't make sense to me.
It's like when we go down the shore. These people have a little piece of property.
Right.
And they use it as a parking lot. They started charging you $5 to park for the evening. And as the evening wears on, it goes up to $7, it goes up to $9, it goes up to $15. As more and more people are coming in for the evening to maybe do the boardwalk or whatever, and their lot is starting to fill up, those spaces that are remaining are at a premium. Now, that to me makes sense.
That makes sense.
I don't like it, but
Right.
it makes sense.
But it makes sense because supply and demand. If there's not enough spaces to go around, yeah, people are going to be willing to pay through the nose to get the spaces. A burger to me is a whole different ballgame.
I'm glad you brought that up. It's the second time on the show that I'm glad she brought something up.
That almost never happens.
Because I just happen to have in my hot little mitt here an article that was published in Forbes magazine. It's in their retail section. They call it an editor's pick. The title of the article is Wendy's Dynamic Pricing Announcement Puts New CEO Kirk Tanner in the Spotlight. It's written by Shelley E. Cohan, who is a senior contributor. She has over 25 years of experience in the retail industry across many functions, including general management, marketing, operations, and merchandising. And she says Wendy's new president, CEO Kirk Tanner, started his first month by firing up the public during the quarterly earnings call about a plan to use dynamic pricing to help increase the company's margin opportunities. Many pundits have criticized the move since food is a non-discretionary category of spending and changing prices based on demand, which may unfairly disadvantage lower-income families.
Exactly.
Beginning as early as 2025, we will begin testing more enhanced features like dynamic pricing, day-part offerings, along with AI-enabled menu changes and suggestive selling, was another part of Kirk Tanner's comments. So where does the AI come in?
What they're saying, if I understand it correctly, is that AI is going to constantly have its finger on the pulse and be monitoring constantly the inflow of people coming in at certain times and what seems to be driving the business, and then offering things that will create that same demand.
It gives them the ability to make the changes on the fly,
right,
in real time. The AI algorithm says, the shakes aren't selling too well. Let's lower the price for the next hour or whatever. And it automatically would change the menu board, which, by the way, they're spending something like $30 million to replace all these menu boards.
And where is that money going to come from?
Yeah. So it will change it on the fly and sense that sales are down for a particular item. But there's also going to be AI-driven suggestive selling, which Wendy said could be based on a factor like weather. Wow, the AI says it's 90 degrees out there today, so let's pump up the shakes. Let's pump up the, whatever they call their Frosty or something, you know. So now we're going to have a sale on Frosties.
But, you know,
or it's cold. Ooh, it's 19 degrees. Wouldn't some nice hot chili be good? It's really the same stuff that we've seen without all the electronics involved. When you used to go to McDonald's and you'd order, say, a fry. Would you like to supersize that fry?
Yeah.
It's suggestive selling, but now it's all done in real time with algorithms.
But, you know, what's bad about that, and where I don't quite get the benefit, is that you driving by and deciding to go to Wendy's or to any fast food restaurant aren't going to know what you're paying. And they're not having a big sign flashing saying, for the next hour, Frosties are going to be $1. You don't know that, so you pull in an order. And it changes on the menu board. And
maybe it'll say new price or reduced price, and it'll blink on and off or something.
But maybe on the menu board, like I said, somebody just driving the business off the street, I don't think it's going to work.
Here's another thing that they might be able to do. I'm not saying that they are.
Yeah.
Let's say everybody has an app, right? So let's say you download the Wendy's app, and it's a hot day, man. And all of a sudden your app goes ding, 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 and the thing comes up on the screen and says, hey, we're having a sale on Frosties. Come on in.
That would work.
Now that I like.
Yeah.
As long as you don't raise the price of the Frosty and say, well, yeah, it's 95 degrees out and you're sweating through your underwear, but we're going to charge you an extra $1.50 for the Frosty to cool you off.
Yeah.
That I've got a problem with.
Right.
But if you want to say, hey, we're going to lower the price, all well and good.
But I doubt that they're going to lower the price.
Well, the business analysts say this is it's a slippery slope, a slippery slope.
Another alliteration.
Because when you, I'm just full of alliteration today.
You are.
In addition to other things. When you lower prices, okay, any business guy is going to tell you, you might be losing money, or at least lowering the margin. So what they're hoping to do, I guess, if you lower the margin and reduce the price, you hope to make it up in the stimulation of sales.
Volume.
Yeah.
Somebody might decide to go in for $1 smoothie, but they're not going to pay $3.
It is the kind of thing that could either really work well for you, or it could come back and bite you in the ass.
Well, it's a gamble, yeah.
Now, the company stated in their response to all of this brouhaha, the company stated, going back to this article, they were looking to advantage, that's the word, advantage customers by lowering prices and using digital menu boards to give more flexibility to change the display of featured items. This was misconstrued in some media reports as our intent to raise prices when demand is highest at our restaurants. We have no plans to do that, and we would not raise prices when our customers are visiting us most in the day.
I'm skeptical.
Well, you know me, I'm very skeptical of corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
Don't spit in my face and tell me it's raining.
Right, right.
So we're going to see where this goes. There's another article here. Wendy's public relations digs deeper hole.
Digs deeper, alliteration.
It's like the more that they try to walk this back, the deeper in they go, because people are saying, oh, well, you stepped in poop. You're trying not to spread it onto the other shoe.
Yeah.
So you're backing it up. And I just don't know.
Yeah, I to be fair, I really can't
And
say
I want
for
to be
sure.
fair to Wendy's.
Right.
I want to be fair to Wendy's because they're good people and they're running a business. Mm-hmm. And of course, business is all about profit and loss
Of course.
and how to make bigger profit. It's a problem, like this article said, if you're starting to raise the price of things that are not discretionary items, food, and it's going to hurt poor people the most. For you or me or many of our viewers and listeners, if it goes up $1, $1.50, $2, not a big deal. But for somebody who is watching every dollar that they spend, or maybe that single mom raising a couple of kids, every dollar counts.
Of course. And the other thing that to me is objectionable with this day part pricing strategy is, just speaking for myself, when I was working, I was given the time that I could take a lunch. It was not at my discretion. I was told your lunch hour will be from 12 to 1. Your lunch hour is at 11:30 to 12:30, whatever it may be. And if that happens to be the prime time for the higher price, now I'm stuck. I don't have the option of saying, well, you know what, I'll go a little bit later and save money. I can't. I have to go at my lunch hour when it is.
Your lunch is when it is.
So, and I don't think I was alone. I think a lot of people, especially shift people, are given a certain time, and that's it.
And you don't leave.
You know, that's when your lunch is, and that's all you can
Can
have.
you imagine saying to your boss, hey, listen, I just got the notice here on my app that Wendy's is lowering the French fries by $1. I'll be right back. Ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen, no.
Now, remember I talked about Amazon. Mm-hmm. And Business Insider says that Amazon changes product prices 2.5 million times a day, meaning an average product listed on Amazon changes prices every 10 minutes.
Wow.
Now, that's 50 times more often than Walmart or Best Buy, which also observe that practice, apparently. The constant price changes have annoyed some consumers when they see the price of an item drop soon as they buy it. But they've also helped Amazon boost their profits by 25%.
Well, we can't argue with success, I guess.
How do they do it? How do they do it? Amazon has tons of data. They have 1.5 billion items listed for sale.
Crazy.
And 200 million users. Amazon has 1 billion gigabytes of data on their items and their users. If you put all that data on 500 gigabyte hard drives and stack them up, the pile of hard drives would be over 8 times as tall as Mount Everest.
Oh my God.
That's big data.
That's big, yeah.
And that's what's driving this thing.
Crazy.
It's all about the data. And you, my friends, are in that database.
Like it or not.
For better or for worse, you're in there. So now that we have discussed what this big brouhaha is all about and what some of the responses to it have been, we're going to turn now to our friends on Facebook.
We asked, and you told us. Now, we have many different replies.
Should we do it just by first name, maybe?
Yeah. Garen says, I can't see it working out for a fast food restaurant, and I expect their competitors to leap on this golden market opportunity. For myself personally, I won't say that I'll boycott Wendy's, but I will go somewhere I'm getting the best value for my money. If I do go to Wendy's when surge pricing is in effect, he uses surge, my purchases there will reflect that reality.
Kurt says, haven't had fast food like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, etc. in many years. Always a pizza person. Well, Kurt, I'm pretty sure that surge pricing, or whatever you want to call it, is probably going to be coming to a pizza restaurant near you.
Maybe.
Once Wendy starts playing with this.
If it catches on.
Yeah.
Okay, now Jennifer just says, no, if you want to offer a discount for less congested times, that makes sense.
Which is what they say they're doing. Joe says, absolutely would not pay more. Prices are insane as it is. I think if they keep this trend of raising prices going, they'll find themselves at a loss.
And Tom says, as someone who's on the road quite a bit, I used to be able to eat 3 meals a day for about $50 or under. That was 4 years ago. Now, I'm lucky to get away for under $100 a day, and I'm not talking anything extravagant. I can't get out of a Panera for under $23 these days. And while I prefer Wendy's over McD's or Burger King, I will and have started boycotting them. As long as they have this stupid money-grabbing plan, I will be taking my money elsewhere.
I thought Mary had an interesting comment. She says, the trouble is that people are too complacent, and they want what they want. So unfortunately, if Wendy's goes this route and nobody boycotts them, I can see McDonald's and Burger King, etc., jumping on the bandwagon and doing the same thing. Fun fact time, y'all. The reporter contacted McDonald's and Burger King for comment and got crickets. They said nothing. KFC said they had no interest or plans to change their pricing. Maybe McDoozers and BK saying, we're not going to comment on this.
Right, we're going to sit back and watch.
Sit back and watch the shit show and see what happens. And KFC is like, no, we're not going to change it.
Yeah.
We're telling you, folks, we're not going to change it. So it's interesting to see how the different fast food companies are kind of
they're interested because let's face
responding
it,
to this.
If this works, they are all going to jump on. But if it doesn't work, they don't want to be sucked into the rabbit hole, you know?
Okay, Irish says, I wouldn't mind if peak hours charged the same and off hours had a discount. That would be a draw for me. And again, that's what Wendy's is saying they're going to do.
And
in their clarification.
And Ann says, I'd tell Wendy's to bite me.
You're supposed to bite their burgers is what they want you to do.
There really are no fast food places around where I live. Taco Bell is probably the closest, and that's still about 15, 20 minutes away. And everything else rolls up by about 9 o'clock. After a while, you learn to live without.
Michelle says, I heard on the radio this morning. Michelle, thank you for listening to radio. I'm not a huge fast food fan these days, but I can hit a pizza place just as fast. Better quality, cheaper if they do that.
And Denise says, boycott the place for sure. That's them getting greedy. Good news for me. I don't normally go there anyway.
Okay. We heard from Roca. Roca says they can haul ass with that bullshit. Why don't you tell us how you really feel there, Roca?
Jeff says, I think somebody in the marketing department had too many Frosties and it went to their brain freeze.
Brain freeze. Vicky said, I would not pay the higher price and I already boycott them anyway.
Christine says, I'm far more concerned with multiple genocides happening across the world than the price of fast food. I prefer to use my political capital holding politicians accountable rather than squabbling over a few bucks related to a product that I can easily avoid purchasing. The best way to send the corporate overlords a message is to disinvest in their products. Money talks far louder than words in a capitalist society. Wah, wah, wah.
Okay, all right, Christine, sit down. Thank you. Barbara says, wow, I would just drop Wendy's from my list. It is the opposite of a senior menu and targets poorer people. Boo!
And Tom says, it would cause a rift between my girlfriend and I. She would pay the extra, I would walk out and protest and hold my ground.
Mary Beth says, I don't frequent Wendy's anyway, but this would deter me if I did.
And Mike says, I would like to meet the person who came up with this genius idea. I've been in advertising and marketing for over 40 years, every client category, big and small, and I pride myself on always thinking out of the box, but this person is out of their friggin' mind.
Mary Ann says, hello. It happens all the time in regular restaurants. Same dish, 50% more at dinner.
Joe says they offer cheaper 1/5 pounders instead of 1/4.
What does that come down to? If you have a 5th pounder, when you cook that down, because you know how hamburgers shrink when you cook them.
Right.
A 1/4 pounder shrinks badly enough. I think a 5th pounder is like you're going to be
it's probably
looking for the beef. Where's the beef?
It's probably in between. It's definitely more than a White Castle, but it's a little smaller than a usual burger.
Fred says, if you could get items for much cheaper than usual at off-peak hours, it might be beneficial and a good incentive for people to think outside of the box. Are they thinking outside of Jack in the Box, maybe? Is there even Jack in the Box anymore? You don't hear about them anymore.
I don't know. Maybe out west.
We need to reduce rush hour traffic. No, we don't. Fred, I make my living as a traffic reporter. We need more traffic during rush hour. Where are you getting that sick, demented idea?
And Lenny says, we stopped eating at Wendy's about a year ago, but if we were still eating it, it would be boycott time.
From Danielle, who says, this is wrong on so many levels. So that is how you weighed in. Please understand that Maureen and I are not calling for a boycott.
No.
Okay? A lot of you are. And you know what? You do you. Mm-hmm. But we are not calling for a boycott of Wendy's. Again, they're good people trying to run a business, to run it as efficiently as they can with the best profit. And this is something that they're looking at. Doesn't make them bad people. Might upset you a little bit, as that seems to be the case. We were asking people on Facebook to calm down and let's hear their explanation. And the thing is, I'm not sure.
Still not sure.
I'm not sure.
Remains to be seen.
Is it a surge? Is it not? Did the media people, and I say this as a member thereof, did we take that ball and fumble it? Or is somebody up there in Burgerland walking it back, realizing that they stepped in a mighty steaming pile of poo-poo? Let us know what you think, because there's a space for comments below.
Yes, there is.
And I think if you're listening to us on Spotify or any of the podcast platforms, there's probably a place there where you can comment too. Or you can even write to Maureen and I at thesonicboomers@aol.com. One way or the other, your comments will get to us. And again, if you like content that is informative, entertaining, and fun,
and lots of alliteration,
give us a like and to subscribe. Until next time, for the Sonic Boomers, I'm Pete Torriello.
And I'm Maureen Torriello.
Goodbye. God bless you. And thank you. Thank you for listening
listening
and watching.